Yes, people, welcome back to Let's Talk Premier League. We are here for another episode of Transfer Talk. I do apologise for being late. It's because, you know, jumping from one stream to another, it's very, very tough. But we are here. That is for sure now. Footy Live, big up to Footy Live in the chat. Hello, guys. How's things? I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. What about yourself? All good as well. Yes, Kenny, you know, you're late, by the way. Yes, I am. If you haven't checked it out already, we were doing an England show, which is maybe a lot of the reasons why I'm late. But let's get straight into it. There's no point dilly-dallying, shall we say. Plenty to talk about. What's going on with Haaland and Chelsea. Well, how about you come join us on YouTube and chuck a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. But I will tell you what's going on with Haaland. And Buongiorno is from Reese, who is, I'm guessing, looking at a picture of Van Dijk right now. So what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to talk about Dortmund wanting £150 million for Erling Haaland. We're also going to talk about Mbappe to Liverpool in 2022 and why that could be a possibility. And here comes a barrage of United stuff at you. Declan Rice to United, off. Trippier to United, off. Phil Jones is going to leave United, apparently. And why Ronaldo is important on what happens to Pogba. And last but not least, Fernandinho has been released by Manchester City, which I think is an utter madness. But lots of stories to get into, onto. No, we're still on the Let's Talk England thing. Yep, that's cool. Antonio Conte is unhappy at Tottenham's project and is looking more likely to reject the offer to be the Spurs head coach. I did see that. Not Phil Jones. Yeah, Phil Jones. I couldn't find a picture of Phil Jones in this year's kit. I don't know why. But let's talk Erling Haaland. Let's straight on to that one. Dortmund want a bid of around £150 million for Haaland this summer. Chelsea have shown a sign of intent over the last year by resuming talks with his agent Mino Raiola after previous fallouts. So what they're saying is Chelsea would like Dortmund, would like Haaland. Dortmund are like, give us 150 million and he's yours. Will Chelsea do that? That is a bit of a mad one. Don't forget about Conte rejecting Spurs. We'll be discussing that one tomorrow. We do 2 shows of these a day. And this show is absolutely full of a barrage of transfer activity, which is going to be good. It keeps us talking about things, which is nice to do. So there's that one. So Haaland to Chelsea could happen, but it's looking very likely that Haaland could be at Chelsea. But it's going to take £150 million. Now, Chelsea are going to have a reported budget of £200 million. That's before player sales. So it is possible, but it is going to take a lot of money out of their transfer kitty, especially considering they want to strengthen at centre-back and at central midfield. Let's do Mbappe to Liverpool. Depressy, I say Roman does it. I say Roman probably does it as well. Lukaku looks like he's off the table. But Lukaku could come back up onto the table. That's not completely dead in the water just yet. Mbappe to Liverpool. Romano has offered his latest take on the ongoing rumours linking Liverpool with PSG's Mbappe. Now, Romano states there is no chance the Reds completing a deal this summer, largely due to a fee the French side would demand. Mbappe is yet to sign a new deal with his summer with his summer current contract set to expire next summer, and Klopp could wait it out until then. Now, for me, Klopp could easily wait it out until next summer, and you could get Mbappe for free. You're going to have to pay a lot of agent fees, though. A lot of agent fees, big wages. Is it worth doing that for Kylian Mbappe? Yeah, it probably is. He's very good. Fernandinho was released by Manchester City today. That one, I think, is a bad move, unless they're going to replace someone of high quality. Check out Transfer Talk tomorrow, 3 p.m. There is some big news dropping there. More likely with United than City. I think City would do much better than the person who has been linked. But let's talk Manchester United now. There's 4 stories for Manchester United. The first one, Manchester United are keen to test West Ham's resolve over Declan Rice when the transfer window opens with a bid. Sources within West Ham have knocked back any question of Rice's sale this summer, and the club has had no contact from Old Trafford over a deal as of yet. Though United remain keen to try their luck, Declan Rice has no pressuring desire to leave West Ham this summer. So basically, if United and West Ham can come up with a deal, Rice will be like, yeah, I might go. But he's not going to force a move, right? So he's not going to force a move from West Ham. Basically, United, if United can get to an agreement with West Ham on a deal, and then obviously personal terms and all of that can be agreed with Declan Rice will go. Otherwise, he'll stay at West Ham. He's not going to force a move, which I thought was key. I thought that was very key. Phil Jones leaving. Phil Jones could be on his way out of Manchester United this summer. Newcastle, West Ham are both interested in signing him. That would be mega, considering it's Phil Jones, and I don't see Phil Jones going absolutely anywhere. It's Phil Jones. It is Phil Jones. Trippier to United. Atletico Madrid are happy with Kieran Trippier and have no intention to sell him this summer, according to Romano. That's a blow for United. If they have no sort of signs, money will talk, but if they're not really keen on signing it or selling him, big move, big blow there for United. And then the Pogba situation. Now, Pogba's really interesting. There's 4 ways this Pogba thing can go on. Option 1, Ronaldo, and I'm going to say this for now. Ronaldo is key. Watch out for Ronaldo this summer. If Ronaldo makes a move or stays, it impacts Pogba. And I'll tell you why now. If Ronaldo stays, Pogba will either stay at United or he'll go to PSG, right? If Zidane takes... So let's say Poch goes back to Spurs or however they do this, right? But Zidane goes into PSG, Pogba could go PSG. If Ronaldo stays and Zidane doesn't go to PSG, Pogba might stay at United. Option 2, if Ronaldo goes, Pogba could go to Juventus. That is likely, but very unlikely as well, because Ronaldo isn't looking like he's moving. But if he does, it frees up that spot for Pogba because they'll have the money then. Pogba could run down his contract. That's the other one that could happen. If that were to happen, United would lose him on a free next summer. Or Pogba signs a contract. One of them 4 or 5 or 6 options will happen this summer with Pogba. So Pogba is a big one. It's not mad. Fabrizio Romano just tweeted about Conte. Yeah, we'll cover Conte tomorrow. It could be chicken, though. It's very Conte, though, isn't it? I'll give you a bit. Do I want to go? Actually, I'm not so sure. Do I want to go? He might be trying to get more out of Levy. It could just be a negotiation tactic. But I hear that. I do hear that. But obviously, I've been hearing that Conte, I've heard that quite a bit of the day, really. And look, for me, a lot of it's like the Muppeteers. If Sancho is done in a few days, right, someone like Romano will take all of the credit, even though it was the Muppeteers that did it, or that said it. So for me, Romano's good, but there's a lot of good sort of people that don't have Romano or not Romano-esque. So that is an option there. The links are in the chats of YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. If any of you do want to come on and have your say, obviously talking about Rice and United, Phil Jones leaving, Haaland, Chelsea, Mbappe, Trippier, Pogba, Ronaldo, Fernandinho, all sorts. You can talk to me about absolutely anything that you desire, because there's a lot to talk about today, a lot to talk about tonight. It's a mad one. It is a mad one. But we're joined by Max. Max, what do you want to talk about?
I preferably, I don't know what I'd like to talk about, really. I really don't.
Over to someone else. Reese, what do you want to talk about?
I will talk about the United stuff.
Right. Which one?
Simply because there seems to be quite
a mountain.
Yeah.
There's a mountain of it.
So, I think Pogba should be sold. Because I think that allows them to show that that they're taking the power, as opposed to just letting him run down his contract. Because otherwise, as much as it might seem like a little thing now, it does show that players have the power in the future, and I do think clubs need to take that back. As well as that, obviously, that, like you said, that could link to the likes of Ronaldo, the likes of Rice, and also the likes of Varane. I don't know if you said about him, but it would obviously give United that money to. Obviously, they're looking at Declan Rice, but it doesn't seem, with Europe on the cards for West Ham, I doubt that he would have. It's
possible
if they weren't to qualify for Europe. I think he would definitely be looking at making the move this season. But I think he would be interested in having one more year at West Ham.
Rice is a weird one. If they can come up with the transfer fee, so if they can get an agreement, if United and West Ham can agree to a fee, Rice will listen and most likely would go. But Rice isn't going to force.
At the moment, it's the thing of, because they're a lower club, obviously, then they're not one of the bigger clubs. So it's someone like Declan Rice is worth a hell of a lot more to them than he would be to a Man United. The same as somebody like Grealish is worth a lot more to Villa than he would be to a United or a City. So to United, he's not worth the 80 million. I think there's a lot of options out there. Like Leicester have got the likes of Soumare, so it shows that there are cheaper options out there, but they seem to be kind of ingrained into wanting the English talent for some reason, which obviously means that they have to spend more money. It's interesting, the Trippier thing. Obviously, they do need another right back. I think somebody to push Wan-Bissaka. Obviously he's 31 now, so he would probably be a little bit less in terms of transfer fee, but he would give good competition, good squad depth, because he can play on both sides. He's more of an attacking option as well as a good set piece option, so it would just be an improvement on their squad at the moment, and obviously it would maybe give Wan-Bissaka a bit of a kick up the arse and just say, listen, mate, like, if Trippier is suiting our style more, then you've got to start looking at your position. So that would definitely be a decent buy if they can get him for fairly cheap. And also, was there Sancho you mentioned as well?
No, Sancho. We haven't covered Sancho, so we covered Rice, Phil Jones, Trippier, and Pogba.
Oh yeah. So Phil Jones, I don't see anyone in their right mind buying him. Number one, injury record. Number two, he's terrible. Number three, his wages. And number four, I doubt he wants to leave.
It would certainly be,
because I don't think at this point he's really got that much desire to play football. I'm pretty sure he's just happy playing 0 games a season and getting probably like 60 grand a week or whatever he's getting at United. So
I think it's closer to 100.
That's disgraceful. He shouldn't even be on 20 grand a week.
Yeah,
realistically, he shouldn't be earning anything. He hasn't played a game in like 2 years.
For me, if United can get rid of Phil Jones, that'll be arguably the best thing they could do this summer. But Jay,
Yeah.
you're a United fan. What do you want to talk about? I'm sure one of the United stories is one of interest for you.
Yeah, there's well, Man United are obviously linked to several different players. Reece mentioned them as well, like Declan Rice. I think because Declan Rice, I believe, is a Chelsea fan and he's close friends with Mason Mount. So
Yeah.
I'm not surprised if Chelsea is his preferred destination. Like if he leaves West Ham.
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, with Chelsea, like their midfield is already strong. I don't think they really need to strengthen in that department for Chelsea. Like they need to look for a striker. They need a striker more than they need a midfielder. Whereas at Manchester United, I think Declan Rice is very much needed. I think he would really strengthen the central defensive midfield area. I believe he'd do a better job than Fred and McTominay. Yeah, it's also like it's a massive joke that Man United still have Phil Jones. Like, I don't know how he's still a Man United player. It's a farce that he got offered like a new contract a few seasons ago. It just makes no sense. And yeah, he got injured. He got injured like when we weren't even playing, which is quite baffling to be honest. But yeah, like you said, there aren't any other clubs that really want to sign him, unless it's like a lower league club, really. And I think he's happy to stay at United when he's getting ridiculous wages, like 60, when he's earning 60 grand a week. But going back to United's transfers, so like Jadon Sancho looks like it's going to happen soon. I just hope like before the Euros rather than after, because knowing United, they like to drag transfers on, and I really don't want that. It's just for my peace of mind. Like it would help if we got the Sancho deal like done and dusted before the start of the Euros, and once that's all done, then that's good. We can move on to the other players. Like, if we get Sancho, that's great, but it's not enough if we want to win the title next season, because we're still quite far behind the likes of Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Their squads are a lot stronger. They've got a lot more strength and depth. Whereas Man United, like you look at our bench, it's really not strong enough. And I don't think Ollie actually trusts the players that we have on the bench. I mean, it showed in the Europa League final when he was so reluctant to make subs. So he doesn't really trust a lot of the players on our bench. And I think if United are able to get rid of Lingard, like if we sell him to West Ham and offer a bit of cash, I think it'll make the Declan Rice acquisition a bit easier. He is definitely a player that we should try and get. If we cannot get Declan Rice for whatever reason, like maybe he doesn't want to leave West Ham or he wants to go to Chelsea, or we can't afford him, for example, then we need a backup plan. So there's obviously like Ruben Neves, Wilfred Ndidi, Bissouma from Brighton. But I think Bissouma wants to join Arsenal. But we'll just have to see how that pans out. And then there's like obviously players from other leagues as well, like Dennis Zakaria. I haven't really seen much of him, but I've heard that we're linked with him. And then there's Cooper Miners as well from AZ Alkmaar in the Dutch league. Yeah, like I don't really know much about him, but I mean he's another player that we could potentially make a bid for. I don't know if we can't get any of the other players, but like knowing Man United and how they run their transfers, like I don't really have any confidence in the club in the way they conduct their transfers. They're not very efficient. They're not very effective. They're not savvy in the way that they get the players. Because there are all these different players that we could sign, but I wouldn't be surprised at the end of the summer if we don't end up signing any of them. I think we might get Sancho, because to not get Sancho would be a total disaster. I think, and Sancho is almost done. It's about, say, 70-80% done, I think, at this point. But like just like I said before, getting Sancho is not enough. Like we need a top quality centre back, because Victor Lindelof just isn't good enough. I'm sorry, he gets pushed off the ball too easily. So either with Lindelof we get like a set piece coaching to like to work on his defending and all that, or we sell Lindelof, which I don't see happening. I think Lindelof's going to stay for another few seasons maybe, but like getting another top quality centre back to play alongside Harry Maguire would be good. We've got Axel Tuanzebe and Eric Bailly as well, but with those two players, I don't think they get that much game time, and Eric Bailly is too injury prone as well, which is a bit annoying because he is a quality centre back. It's just he's too inconsistent when it comes to injuries. I can't trust him to stay fit for an entire season, for a 38 game season. And we're going to be playing in the Champions League as well. It's good to have a bit of squad rotation too. Tuanzebe is another one. Like if we don't sign another centre back, because there's like Pau Torres from Villarreal. There's like we could get Jules Koundé from Sevilla or Varane. Varane is the main one that I want, but I really don't know. Because I think it might be a bit too much to ask to get Sancho, Declan Rice, and Rafael Varane. If somehow, we get all three of the signings, that would be amazing. I would be very happy with that transfer window. And then with Sancho, because I know his record at Dortmund has been like superb. He's been like registering like 20 plus assists every season for the last 3 years, I think. I don't expect him to hit the ground running straight away in the Premier League. It's a different league to the Bundesliga. It's a bit more physical, more competitive. But I do think that he's still going to do really well. Because like, even if he doesn't get loads of assists straight away, like Bruno Fernandes did, I still feel like he'll have like a huge impact. And he's that type of creative player that can make things happen and will like help Man United break down low block teams, because United have struggled to break down low block teams this season. They've been very stubborn, and we haven't been able to break them down. But there's so many options. That's the thing. I've listed like 3 different centre backs that we could go for. If we can't get Varane, then there's Pau Torres. If we can't get Pau Torres, then there's Jules Koundé. For the CDM one, I listed at least like 6 or 7 players. And then Jadon Sancho, like I'm kind of preparing myself for the worst because of what happened last year. If for whatever reason we don't get Sancho, we somehow fuck that one up, then I guess there's Rafinha from Leeds. But I pray to God it doesn't come to that. I pray to God that we don't somehow mess up the Jadon Sancho deal. We messed it up last year. We can't mess it up again.
On the Sancho deal, with everything that we've been reporting here, what I've been reading elsewhere, and all the sort of stuff that's out there, Sancho is yours to have. Dortmund aren't messing around. We covered this in the stream earlier. Dortmund want 80 to 85 million. United are willing to do that. They're willing to do 70, 75 million up front with 5 to 10 million on add-ons. You're negotiating the add-on price now, I think. From my understanding, bids were being put in today or very soon. I think Sancho is yours. I hear what you're saying about centre-backs. I think Varane is a good shout for 40 mil. I've been...
Oh, Botman as well, yeah.
I was just about to say, I've been... everyone on here can tell you, I've been very keen on Botman. I think Botman strengthens you, and I think he offers a lot to what Maguire doesn't. And he'll work well with Maguire. Botman has weaknesses, they're Maguire's strengths. Maguire's weaknesses are Botman's strengths. So
they'll complement each other, won't they?
Exactly. It reminds me so much of a Rio Vidic sort of thing, probably B-Tech version. Yeah. Probably a B-Tech version of them, because getting another Rio Vidic is going to be mad. But Mustafa, you're a United fan. What do you make of all of this? So obviously you got the likes of Phil Jones actually being wanted by Newcastle and West Ham, which I think is remarkable. If you can get rid of him to one of them, Jesus Christ. Then you've got Declan Rice, where the ball's really in United's court. If United put in the offer that West Ham want for Rice, then I think he'll go. But he's not going to force the sale, so there's that as well. Then you've got Trippier, which Atletico are happy at Kieran Trippier and have no intention of selling him. Then you've got obviously Pogba and what happens with Pogba. So let's talk Pogba. What do you want to happen with Pogba? There's like 4 or 5 options. You've got Ronaldo stays, Pogba stays or goes to PSG, but only if Zidane goes to PSG. Then you got Ronaldo goes Pogba to Juventus. Then you got Pogba runs down his contract, or Pogba signs a new contract. But also we have to be aware that United can want to sell him, but Pogba might just reject him because it will be more money for him if you don't sell him. If he runs down his contract, he gets more money. So what do you think? What would you see United doing?
I think he'll go back to Juve in a swap deal with Ronaldo, or maybe cash only.
Yeah. No, I hear that. I mean, I do think Pogba most likely will go unless there is dramatic strength in this squad improved. So if you go get a Declan Rice, a Varane and a Sancho, I think Pogba signs on that dotted line. I think if you just get Sancho and maybe a centre-back, I don't think Pogba stays. I think Pogba goes. So it really... The interesting thing with Pogba is pivotal, because not many people are talking about Pogba. And Pogba is so pivotal to United's transfers this summer because people aren't really talking about him. And it's mad because he is the star of the show, really. But no one's talking about him because Pogba has got a big summer to decide. Does he go? Does he sign a new contract? Does he run his contract down? And if he does go, where does he go to? There's so many different options. It is a madness. But Kenny, what about you? Where do you see Pogba after the summer transfer window?
Well, I see Pogba. I still think he'll be at United after the transfer window, because I think that what will happen is
so
that
do you think he'll just signed a new deal, or do you think he'll be running his contract down?
It's a tough one because it depends. It depends the signings we make and the actual the money we offer him. Now, if we offer him enough money and if we get the signings, I am going to say he will sign. So I am going to say right now he will sign a new deal. Just because I don't think he'll go to Juventus, because the thing is with Juventus is that everyone's forgetting this. They don't actually have Europe next season. And they don't have any European competition next season. Because, of course, the Super League embargo, they're banned from it. Them, Real Madrid and Barcelona are just out of Pogba because they're banned from European competition. Pogba wants to win Champions League. So I think that Pogba's most likely destination, if he does leave, is definitely PSG. And I can't see him being involved in that swap deal with Ronaldo, because I think he himself would probably refuse it. He wouldn't want to go to Juventus. So I think he'll sign a new deal, but his most likely destination, if he would leave, is, of course, PSG. And also Spurs are bottle jobs, by the way. Just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, we'll be discussing that one tomorrow. Don't you worry about that one. But no, Reese, I mean, Pogba, but not many people are talking about Pogba, but he's so crucial to this summer's transfer. What do you see going on there?
Yeah, he's kind of, because he has so much value still in him if they were to sell him, he's kind of, no one's really thought about him because I guess he's been thought about every other year and nothing's really happened, even though there's been so much talk over him. So I think people have just not bothered this year. I do think that he'll stay for another year, and I think he'll run his contract down. I don't see him believing in the project for another 3-4 years. And obviously this year he'll obviously want his chance at the Champions League. And I think he'll probably see himself as going, well, I can go to Juve next year. They'll 99% probably be in the Champions League. Because obviously they've got no Europe to contend with. They should walk the league, theoretically. And so, yeah, it just seems like a very sort of obvious sort of transfer, in my opinion, because at PSG, I mean, it depends obviously what happens with Mbappe, because they'll have the wages back next season if he does decide to leave. Maybe Zidane goes. But yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. But at the end of the day, I don't see Pogba staying anything past next season.
I hear that. I do hear that. I think Pogba does need to go. And Chris saying I see Pogba at PSG. Now PSG is really interesting. And look, I'm not going to delve into Tottenham news too much, but obviously with the news coming out, the Conte has rejected Spurs. That really does put the ball into probably Pochettino's court. So Pochettino could go to Spurs again, which would open the door for Zidane to go to PSG, French manager, French team, going to go get Paul Pogba, French player, all of that. So whilst that is unsure as of yet, that's also a possibility. So yeah, there's so many. The Pogba deal is so weird because there's such a variety of options that could happen. But it's really down to what Pogba does, and it's reliant on so many other things happening. Do I see Pogba going to Pochettino's PSG? I don't. Do I see Pogba going to a PSG with Zidane in charge? I do. So there's so many moving plates and so much going on around this whole Pogba thing that the Pogba one is the hardest to predict at the moment because of where everything could go. It's such an odd one, James and Dylan Talks Football saying, I think Haaland will go to Chelsea. Chelsea need a striker. That we'll get into in just a second. Pogba should go. I hear that. I think it'll be best for both parties. You got Donny. I'm not saying Donny is as good as Pogba, but Donny could do that role. Pogba is world class for fans, but hasn't shown that world class ability consistently for Man U. And that is a fair comment. But also we have to back Pogba a little bit here. Pogba's never been given the players to even do much around. I mean, he's been moved all around the United side this year. I mean, at some point he plays in a double pivot with Matic or McTominay. Then you see him on the left-hand side with Marcus on the right. Then you see Pogba on the right and Marcus on the left. And this lad has been pulled pillar to post around that United squad. And has still done a fairly good job. I just think with me and Pogba, I think Pogba is the right player for United. I just don't think United have utilised him, A, in the best way, and B, they've never brought the players around for him to be successful with United. And look, that for me is a shame. But hey, there's not an awful lot you can do about that. If it happens sometimes. But yeah, United really need to work out what their plan is and how they wish to really bring this back, because at the moment it's not working. But let's talk a bit about Erling Haaland. Dortmund would want a bid of £150 million for Haaland this summer. Chelsea have shown a sign of intent over the last year by resuming talks with his agent Mino Raiola after previous fallouts. Now, the interesting thing that we reported yesterday was Thomas Tuchel to be given £200 million transfer budget. Roman Abramovich is set to back the German in the upcoming transfer window. Thomas Tuchel will be handed a transfer budget of £200 million this summer after steering Chelsea to Champions League success. Now, obviously, the first person that was in Chelsea's eyes was Romelu Lukaku. He was the guy that Chelsea wanted. If they went and got Lukaku, they could strengthen that defence. They could strengthen that midfield. With Lukaku's recent developments of saying, look, I'm staying at Inter, it's forced Chelsea to look at the more expensive targets in the market, the Harry Kanes and the Erling Haalands. That does take away from what they can physically do elsewhere in terms of central defence and central midfield. And Reece, I'll go to you first. What do you see Chelsea doing? Do you see them trying desperately to go get Lukaku? Do you see them going for
I definitely think they'll throw a bid in. I definitely think they'll throw in a bid for Lukaku, to be honest. I mean, obviously they've literally got nothing to lose in it. If he decides that it's the right move for him, despite what he said, then obviously that can go through. Inter would obviously appreciate the money, and obviously it means that they don't have to lose as many players throughout the squad, whereas obviously they could lose a couple of other players for lesser money. So it just depends, obviously, on Chelsea. I think Inter would be kind of not happy with it, but I think they would kind of be all right with it in that certain sense. I think he would be the right sort of player for Chelsea because they're looking for an out and out 9 of that sort of the type to hold up the ball a little bit more. Obviously, they've got a lot of players that run in behind and a lot of creators. So he's something different that will just add to their strike force. And also, it doesn't really seem like anyone else is interested in him. So he would have kind of a free reign. They would have kind of free roam at him. But obviously, it just depends on if he would be happy to leave. With Haaland and Kane, I still see if City are willing to put the bid in for Kane, depending on what Spurs would accept, because obviously they're paying in the arses to negotiate with. Kane is obviously that's his first choice, but he would probably cost minimum 80 million. Obviously, I'm sure Spurs would ask for like 120, 150 because that's Spurs for you. And with Haaland, I just don't see it happening this year. I think Haaland's got enough of a sort of... He seems intelligent in the sense that he wouldn't make a move that he feels is too early for him. And I think he knows that he can go to that super level next season and really show that for a second and a half season or third season that he's really got that top level and just kind of finite himself to become a more finished player ready for the next summer. And then obviously he'll have a lot more offers because he'll be ready for that cheaper price. So I think that would make more sense for him in terms of having more options available and also in a more stable transfer market as well.
I hear that. I do hear that completely. Kenny, what about you? What do you see going on with Lukaku or Haaland or Kane? Or what do Chelsea do this summer?
I don't think they'll get Haaland. I don't think they'll get Lukaku. Lukaku has, of course, made a public statement of the holiday that he's staying at Inter Milan, so he's not going to go anywhere, I don't think. Because if he goes anywhere, then bloody hell, Inter Milan will probably dish out. Might dish out a fine. I don't know. He might get a fine because it's pretty much of lies then. But yeah, Lukaku's off. Haaland, I don't think will happen. Dortmund have said they don't want to sell him at 150 million. I think it's 200 million, isn't it? Well, yeah. Which is a bit much for them. And also, they're the only club interested in Haaland, to be fair. So they're actually, I think they're the only club interested in Haaland, aren't they, this summer? They're interested to get him this summer. Next summer, of course, there's more going to be more. But yeah, I think it's going to be Kane. I think Kane's going to go to Chelsea. Because I think they'll swoop in, they have the money to get him. And I think he'll be perfect for their system. And Roman Abramovich, you can't say anything with Roman Abramovich, but he does actually care about Chelsea. That is a fact. He may not care about the future of football, but he does care about Chelsea. So I think that it will get Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane's perfect with that system too. And I think Harry Kane, I really... I really think he will go to Chelsea. I've just got this massive feeling because they've got the money to do it, and Roman Abramovich has the care to do it. So yeah, I think that'll happen.
Yeah, I hear that. It's certainly going to be an interesting one. Ben, if you don't want to watch, no one's forcing you to watch. Go, I don't know, have a wank if that will entertain you, because your level of intelligence is a little low. So go have a wank, go chill out, or go get your mum to get you some warm milk and put you to bed, because it seems like you past your bedtime.
I like some warm milk.
Bend over, man. Like he's has no life.
Yeah, warm milk.
Sorry, you want me to what?
Be careful, Kenny. Be careful. We might bend over for you. Pogba is world class for France, but oh yeah, we've done that one. I don't think Lukaku will leave Inter, considering he's just said he doesn't want to. That could just be something different. As I said,
he might feel that at the time, but players change their minds all the time. It's not necessarily going to be a lie, but I think if the right bid came in for him, I definitely think he'd be tempted.
Yeah, no, I do hear that, and as I said, Ben, if you haven't sorted out your life yet, go get mummy to go get you a hot warm milk, read you a bedtime story, and tuck you into bed, and make sure monsters don't come out of the closet to bite you.
I'd recommend Ben is personally get a job, mate. Just get wages. I know so many have rejected you, but just get wages.
Yeah, or I don't know. You seem to play lack with the girls, so go have a wank or something. But Mustafa, do you see Haaland to Chelsea this summer, or what do you see Chelsea doing? Because it's certainly a strange one.
I can see Chelsea going for Harry Kane because Haaland is too much money. And also, if you see Harry Kane's coming at Spurs, and if Chelsea come in for him, they can offer him the trophies. So he'll be like, okay, I'll go.
Do you think Kane will be much less than Haaland? I think they'll probably be around the same price, especially with Daniel Levy in charge. Jeez.
I don't think he'll be the 150 plus, maybe around the 120.
I hear that. I do hear that, and that would make sense because then they can strengthen CDM and centre back with that. That would make an awful lot of sense. But what about you, Jay? What do you see with Haaland or Chelsea? What striker will Chelsea get this summer?
That's an interesting question because they've obviously got like many different strikers on their radar. So I know because Haaland is there are a lot of different clubs that want Haaland. So obviously Man City are looking for a striker as well now that Aguero is gone. I think if Kane joins Man City, then Chelsea could quite easily get either Lukaku or Haaland. Or if Kane joins Chelsea, then Haaland could end up at Man City. So it could be one of the two. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, though. It could happen next year. But with Mino Raiola, his agent, we all know what he's like. He likes to, flirt with different clubs, just go around the market and see what's on offer, really. What's the best deal for him? I don't know where Haaland wants to play, specifically, if he's got a preference. I mean, all I know is that his dad played for Man City, so I don't know. His dad might be like, you can play for Man City. They're a really good club. They just won the Premier League, and you could be the striker that takes them to their first Champions League title. Who knows? But then obviously Chelsea will say the same thing. They'll be like, we just won a Champions League title. You can be the striker that takes us to Premier League glory. So the options for Haaland are obviously very attractive. He's got a lot of options. He's a very good player. He's so young, and he scored 40 goals in all competitions this season. He's had a very good season. If he stays at Dortmund, I don't know if he's going to win any more trophies. He just won the German Cup. But who knows? We could see a situation where he actually joins Bayern Munich, because we've seen a lot of Dortmund players then leave to join the rivals Bayern Munich. With Mario Götze, for example, Robert Lewandowski. Who else? Some other players as well, like Matt Hummels as well. That's another one. Like Dortmund players that have left to join Bayern Munich, because they do that a lot. Like Bayern Munich, they just poach the best, all the other young talent in the Bundesliga. They take the best players and then they play. Like Upamecano he's now left Leipzig. He's going to play for Bayern Munich. But I think Chelsea could quite easily make a bid for Haaland this summer. They could quite easily do that. But I think you mentioned that Roman Abramovich was going to give Tuchel £200 million to spend, which is a lot of money. and Haaland is not going to be 200 million. No way, he's going to be that expensive. Like as good as he is, like he's not gonna be that expensive. Harry Kane, on the other hand, Harry Kane could quite easily be like a ridiculous fee. He could be well over 150 mil. Daniel Levy, he's going to make it very difficult for any club to sign his prize asset from Tottenham, because Harry Kane is the best player at Tottenham Hotspur. And then once Kane leaves, Tottenham are going to be a much weaker side, and they're obviously going to have to rebuild as well. But Haaland could join Chelsea, or he could join City. It's either one of those two, or even Bayern Munich stays at Borussia Dortmund for another season and then joins Bayern Munich. We don't even know. I mean, there's Real Madrid, there's Barcelona. I think earlier this season, Mino Raiola, I think on the same day he visited Real Madrid and Barcelona. So he went to both clubs on the same day, something like that.
He took Haaland on that European tour, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. His agent likes to talk to all the different clubs, so we don't really know. But one thing is for sure is that Tuchel will definitely want to sign a striker this summer. But wouldn't it be funny though if they got Danny Ings? Like imagine all the strikers they could sign, and then they end up with Danny Ings. That'd be quite funny.
That'd be mad. Obviously, Giroud signed a new contract earlier today as well. So
really? Oh wow.
Yeah, it was reported.
So what happens to Tammy Abraham then? Is Abraham going to leave, or
I think Tammy goes.
He's going.
I think Tammy is. Daniel saying Haaland or Kane. I want a person who can put the ball in the back of the net. We can sell for 180 million. Daniel, can you name me? Can you, before you go on to that, Reese? Daniel, can you name me the players you're selling for 180 million? I'm asking out a lot of curiosity. But yeah, carry on, Reese.
With the Giroud stuff, I can't remember who it was, but there was a bunch of journalists that were talking about it. They were saying that it's probable that they are going to just renew his contract so that they can sell him for a fee, which is obviously, I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I mean that makes sense for them if they've spoken to him and obviously he understands that he's not really going to get much of a role next season, then it makes sense for both parties.
Sorry.
Not sure what happened there. Carry on, Reese.
That was it.
A bit of a mad one. I would love to know how many players and who you're selling for 180 million. Buy and make players run down their contracts and sign them for free. Look, there's always been that thing with they wouldn't sign. They're not going to sign Haaland for free, but they'll sign him at his release clause, which is considerably less. But the last bit I want to talk about before we wrap up, because I've been streaming since 3:00. Man wants to go play Football Manager on his sofa and chill out. So let's talk Kylian Mbappe to Liverpool. Max, are you there? Max, are you there? I don't think Max is there. Reese, I'll go to you first then. Reese, what's your thoughts? Kylian Mbappe, 2022, end of contract. Do you think you can get him for free? Which would be mad.
I mean, it obviously all depends on what he does this summer. And it's a weird one, because if Zidane goes to PSG, I can see him staying there for. I can maybe see him signing a new deal, because it would be a massive thing that the club he supported as a kid, his idol, trying to win in the first Champions League, that could be a massive project for him and for the club. So that's kind of what I'm a little bit scared of in that sense. But in terms of next year, if it's on a free, I can't see Real not getting him, but I can see I think us and Real are the only realistic clubs that he would be interested in, because I don't think City really are looking for a player like him. Chelsea obviously aren't looking for a player like him. United, I doubt he would even consider, and I don't think they're really looking for a player exactly like him. Barca, no way they could afford him.
If they've just brought in Sancho, I doubt they'll go
Exactly.
Mbappe.
And so, yeah, I only see us. I think it depends on what we're willing to do in terms of selling players. And I do think that it would be likely next summer that we look to sell Sadio Mane, which would be more likely to then bring in Mbappe to play on that left side than obviously playing in the Firmino role. Because I think maybe if we bring somebody else for that, maybe a Vlahovic this summer, or if we bring Jota in more into the centre this year, then maybe he can, cement himself as that number 9 this summer or this season. So yeah, realistically, I only see us or Real as being his choices, and it just depends who's looking more interesting and who's paying the most wages at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It really is, and you're not wrong there. But Kenny, what do you make of that? Do you think Liverpool can get Mbappe for free next year?
No. He is not going to Liverpool. Next year, you said. Just making sure. So next season, no, he is not going to Liverpool. Let me just say, next season is when Real Madrid, who he's very interested in, their European bannings, and what other teams are we interested in? I don't even know. But Real Madrid, he is very much been linked to in the past. He wants to go to Real Madrid. And Real Madrid, of course, contenders for the Champions League as well. Liverpool, of course, are contenders of the Champions League. But I don't think he'd want to go to Liverpool for the sheer fact that, to be honest, I think he prefers Real Madrid over Liverpool. That's why I don't think he'd go to Liverpool. I am fully confident that he's not going to Liverpool, lads. Like, United.
I think he would prefer Klopp over Ancelotti, though.
And
I think Klopp's profile is extremely underrated.
Ancelotti will be sacked by next season, I guarantee you. He'll be sacked.
I doubt he'll be there for a long time. Probably 2 years.
He'll be there for like 6 months max.
Nah, he'll be sacked.
Nah.
What?
But Kenny, yeah. So you don't think Mbappe will go to Liverpool? That's what you're trying to summarise, but
I am so surprised.
I'm shocked that Kenny thinks that. Mustafa, what about you? Do you think Mbappe to Liverpool next year for free?
Why the hell would he go to Liverpool? No,
Biggest team in the world, mate.
It's clearly a downgrade.
Biggest team in England.
It's because he has no ambition.
Am I going to have to become like
We're the biggest club in England, mate.
Am I going to have to like become? Am I going to have to become?
We've got more trophies than you.
Guys,
more trophies, more European trophies.
66 trophies, 65.
Yeah, but we've got 20 titles.
Am I going to have to?
Yeah, but European trophies are worth 5 times.
One league title in 30 years.
I'm not so sure about that one because it's pretty hard to win a Premier League title, though.
Well, actually,
it's not so simple.
This argument,
it's not so simple.
This argument is.
38
I hear that.
Season is hard.
This argument pulls me perfectly into what we're doing tomorrow night, actually. So I'm glad you said this. Tomorrow night at 11:30 at night. Obviously, we do our series late night. Let's talk. And tomorrow night, a very interesting one. We are doing who is the best team in England overall. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the Sky Sports, how Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, the point system, and they ranked the teams like United 08 and for example. So what I've done is I've given a point system for the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the League Cup, and I've worked out who's obviously top of that, bottom of that, and all of that. That's going to be a really good one. I've done one both domestically and of all time. So domestically, just the English shit, and then obviously all time, including Champions League. So a really interesting stream tomorrow, as it always is. Link will be in the chat for anyone that wishes to come on, really, because that's the way we roll on that one. And it's going to be a really good stream. Yes, Ken.
Now, will the Premier League thing, will it be counting before, of course, the Premier League? So, will Liverpool have won 19 titles or one?
Yes, so of all time. So any first division trophies have carried over.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
in the last 30 years, like Liverpool haven't really won that many trophies. I know they've won 2 Champions Leagues and a few cups and a Premier League, of course. But like in comparison to Man United have won so much more. Like, in the last 30 years, at
but
least.
this is taken into account. So I've even added Leeds,
Yeah.
Villa, Nottingham Forest in there as well. So
Bigger
all I
clubs
will say is
today.
one team is in the mud a bit. And when I say a bit, I
Spurs.
mean a lot.
It's
Tottenham
Spurs.
Hotspur.
I'm not going to say who is in the mud, but
Have
someone's
you, have
in
you
the
got
mud.
like a leaked trailer for it?
I have
just
not.
tease everyone.
I have not.
Get the epic music, the black bars.
I have not actually done that. Leave that with me, and I may actually come up with something very, very
Get
similar.
the deep voiceover.
No, it might be some music and like a zoomed in picture of maybe a point, maybe the points or something like that, or certainly leave that to me. I might have a look at doing that tonight. So check out this tomorrow. We've got a huge amount of streams tomorrow. Absolute mega amount. We've got Transfer Talk at 3 p.m. We've got, actually no, I lie. We've got Formula One at, I think, at 2 p.m. Let me just double check that right now before I wrap up.
Is there any football on tomorrow?
Yes, I'm doing Wales versus Albania at 5 p.m.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm whacking out the big boys here, mate. Whacking out the big boys. Okay, so
Wow.
qualifying is what are you? What 1 p.m. Wow, you bastards. That actually helps. You absolute bastards. So I need to write 1 p.m. down. Why is my, there we go, the pen's working. This 1 p.m. Is qualifying. Transfer Talk at 3 p.m. Then we've got Wales versus Albania at 5 p.m. Then we've got we were gonna do the quiz, but I've got so much on tomorrow, I'm not bothering. We'll then have Transfer Talk at 10 p.m. Then we'll have Late Night Let's Talk at 11:30 with me, Matt. I'm sure Reese will be there because he's been very excited to know where everyone's fared in here. RJ might pop on, and as I said, link will be in the chat. So a big night tomorrow. Then on Sunday, Transfer Talk 3 p.m. The race at 1 p.m. Transfer Talk at 3 p.m. Then we've got England, Romania, Luxembourg, Scotland at 4:30. Then I'm doing a Belgium versus Croatia watch along at 7:30, followed by obviously Transfer Talk at 10. So that's what's coming up this weekend. A big weekend of action for this channel. You know what to do. Subscribe to the channel with notifications on. If you're watching on Twitter, come join us on YouTube. Press that subscribe button. Turn those notifications on so you don't miss when we go live. And like the video. Check out our socials on Twitter, Let's Talk EPL, on Instagram, Let's Talk EPL _, and on TikTok at Let's Talk Premier League. Max, are you there?
I am now. I had a
Where
little.
can they find you, bro?
Find me on Instagram, MaxTagHD Official, on Twitter at YouTube _MaxTagHD. MaxTagHD on YouTube. I'll be doing updates on Hull City transfer news and preview and review for the Romania game on Sunday and throughout the Euros as well.
Sorry, I have no idea who Hull City are. Jay, where can they find you, bro?
We're bigger than you.
So on Twitter, you can find me at JRedDevilsUnited, and then on YouTube, I'm usually in the comment section for like this channel and a couple of other channels as well, like the First XI too.
Yeah. Big up to Indiana. I'll be there on Monday, bullying Aaron for another week.
What are you?
Kenny, I can't actually see it. What have I told you
Is that the
about
Plymouth
this?
Hull game? Is that the Plymouth Hull game? Turn your camera a little bit. You need to turn the phone a little bit. I can't. Not the you. This Kenny guy, man.
Mustafa, where can they find you? I'm not sure Mustafa's there. Kenny, where can they find you?
At Pogba Class, Kenny Steve on YouTube, and also Plymouth just a reminder.
And Reese, where can they find you?
Yes, over on Twitter, LFC_Reese, on TikTok, Reese_JB, and on YouTube, RJB TV.
Perfect. Make sure you check out everyone there. We'll be back, as I said, 3 p.m. tomorrow with Transfer Talk. And FYI, I'm already going to be preparing for that show tomorrow morning because, to be frankly honest, Kenny's always sent me a load of shit for it, which I do love. I do appreciate massively. So big thanks to everyone that's tuned in. We'll be back tomorrow at 3 p.m. But until then, have a good night. And Ben, don't forget, have that wank because you're clearly upset about something. But until then, have a good day.